my god. You're so awesome, Lawrence Lim.
It's Lawrence Lim with the W.
Residents of a remote village are suffering from horrifying symptoms of a mysterious disease that has the potential to wipe out millions. In the Altai Krai region, Konstantin, the elder of the village of Kedrovka, and his daughter Olya set out on a hunting trip. Olya carefully aims at a wild boar, but the animal manages to escape. The father and daughter continue wandering through the taiga when Konstantin suddenly spots a fox. Without hesitation, he takes aim and shoots. As they approach the animal, Olya notices it looks like a zombie, with patches of fur missing and its body covered in sores. Concerned, Konstantin decides to bury the diseased fox and warns Olya not to mention it to anyone in the village to avoid causing a panic. Meanwhile, at a gas station, Anna Markova, a virologist from the Moscow Research Institute, wakes up in her car. For reasons she hasn't fully explained, Anna has abandoned her life and career in Moscow and is heading to Novosibirsk, hoping for a fresh start. After days on the road, Anna finally arrives at the Center for Microbiology. After freshening up, she heads to the secret bacteriological lab but is stopped by security guards who inform her that her details aren't yet in the system. Shortly after, Tatiana, the head of the lab, appears and assures the guards that Anna is their new specialist. She then introduces Anna to the team of scientists she'll be working with. Anna immediately suspects that the authorities may have uncovered something dangerous, given the strict security measures, but Tatiana remains tight-lipped. In the bacteriology lab, scientist Ivan is carefully examining an envelope suspected of containing letters laced with anthrax spores. His colleague Victor documents the process in real time, while Alexei and Svetlana monitor from the sidelines. Tatiana and Anna soon enter the lab. Tatiana introduces Anna to the team and questions why Ivan is handling the specimen alone. When Anna volunteers to assist, citing her experience, the team greets her enthusiasm with thinly veiled skepticism. To them, she's just another arrogant newcomer from Moscow, but Tatiana reminds them to stay focused on the task at hand. Anna begins analyzing the powder in the envelope. Meanwhile, Ivan, clearly intrigued by her, starts asking about her life back in Moscow. Their conversation catches Victor's attention, and in his distraction, he accidentally knocks over a bottle containing an unknown liquid. The bottle begins to leak, and as Victor scrambles to activate the equipment, a short circuit occurs, triggering a sudden and tense emergency. Victor's glove catches fire, but fortunately, it's extinguished before any serious damage occurs. Later that day, the team heads to the cafeteria for lunch and speculates about why Anna moved from Moscow to Novosibirsk. Ivan, curious to get the truth, approaches Anna, who is eating alone in a nearby hall. He invites her to join the group and get to know them better, but Anna is clearly uninterested in forming friendships with her colleagues. She dismissively remarks that their work isn't important enough. Ivan, puzzled, asks why she transferred to their center if she feels that way. Anna brushes him off, claiming she simply wanted a quiet and uneventful life. Meanwhile, in Kedrovka, a dog digs up the grave where the diseased fox was buried, inadvertently helping spread the mysterious illness. As Konstantin chops wood, several villagers approach him with concerns, and he reassures them that he'll handle everything. Soon, a distressed man named Matvey rushes over, holding several carcasses of dead animals. He reports that squirrels and foxes in the area are dying, suggesting that someone might be conducting experiments nearby. Fearing panic, Konstantin pulls Matvey aside and instructs him to bury the carcasses and keep the discovery a secret. Back in Novosibirsk, the scientists determine that the suspicious envelope contained nothing more than laundry detergent. Shortly afterward, Tatiana informs the team that they've been called to investigate a mass poisoning at a local dormitory. Although reluctant to handle such dirty work, the scientists are reminded by Tatiana that the clinics are overwhelmed and understaffed. Upon arrival, they find residents living in unsanitary conditions, which explains the outbreak. They also discover that the dorm houses workers from the Altai meat processing plant, who often eat meals in less than ideal places, like the company truck used to transport waste. Curious, Anna decides to inspect the truck. She's immediately hit by a nauseating stench and notices chunks of rotting meat inside. Ivan stops by and tells Anna it's time to head back, but she insists on continuing her inspection of the truck, convinced it could be the source of the infection. Back at the lab, Anna starts researching the meat processing plant online, while her colleagues, who saw nothing suspicious, are more interested in making evening plans. Ivan invites Anna to join them, but she declines, saying she needs to check on the plant workers. She visits the recovering patients, who are feeling better, and questions them about their working conditions. Anna warns them that while they only caught a rotavirus this time, things could get much worse. One worker reluctantly shares that they dispose of waste in a pit in the forest, not far from the factory in the village of Kedrovka. Anna dives into more online research about Kedrovka and stumbles upon a video by a blogger named Sofia. The video humorously depicts Sofia's visit to the village, showcasing how tons of waste are dumped there. She even interviews Konstantin, the village elder, and ventures into the pit to show the extent of the pollution. Alarmed, Anna shows the video to Tatiana, but Tatiana dismisses it as gossip and advises Anna to leave the matter alone. Frustrated by this attitude, Anna holds back her anger but walks away determined. That evening, after a walk through the city, Anna returns to her hotel room. Late at night, she receives a call from her former boss, and likely ex-lover, Arkady. Anna tells him about the situation with the meat plant and asks him to organize an inspection since no one local seems willing to act. Arkady promises to try and help, and Anna finally decides to join her colleagues for a bit of relaxation. The next morning, Ivan stops by Anna's room and informs her that Tatiana has called them in for an important meeting. At the lab, Tatiana explains that she received an early morning call from the Consumer Protection Agency, instructing them to investigate the meat processing plant following an unexpected complaint. Everyone immediately suspects Anna's involvement but reluctantly prepares for the trip to Altai. A few hours later, the team arrives at the plant, where they are greeted by the director. Anna requests to examine the workers who handle waste disposal, but the director claims it's impossible since he terminated the contractor's agreement a week ago. Anna senses that this is no coincidence, concluding the director has something to hide. Over the next several hours, the scientists collect samples from other factory employees while chatting with Egor, a local paramedic who serves the nearby villages. Anna takes Egor aside for a private conversation and questions him about Kedrovka, but he doesn't reveal anything unusual. Undeterred, Anna asks him to take her to the village, hoping to uncover the truth from its residents. On the way, Egor notices that he forgot his radio, and then wonders why Anna is making such a big deal out of the words of an unknown blogger. However, she explains that meat of unknown origin rots, decomposes, and ends up in the groundwater, which creates new potentially dangerous viruses. That's why she has to make sure they don't face a new epidemic, like the coronavirus. Suddenly, Egor's service car breaks down, but after a couple of hits, it starts up again, and they continue on their way. Meanwhile, in Kedrovka, the very Sofia who filmed the waste video is seriously ill. Konstantin and his wife Nadia go to visit her, bringing a special herbal brew. Concerned, Nadia thinks they should see the local shaman, but Konstantin is sure the girl just has the flu. However, Nadia recalls the shaman's prophecy, which predicted that one day the swamp in the village would dry up, the animals would disappear, and people in white would come. Konstantin reminds her that they survived COVID, so if anything happens, they'll handle the new virus too. At that moment, Nadia notices an ambulance and, horrified, looks at the people in white. Konstantin, clearly annoyed, walks up to the medical staff and declares that they'll handle it on their own. However, Anna insists that the situation is very serious and asks to be taken to the waste dump site. Anna messages her colleagues that she'll be back in 4 hours but tells them they can fly home without her. Ivan doesn't want to leave his colleague, but the others insist that she'll be fine, and they need to get the collected samples to the lab as soon as possible. On the way to the dump, Anna explains what brought her to the village, but Konstantin says that if it weren't for the urban infection, everything would have been fine. Anna is outraged that the whole village believes in superstitions rather than medicine, but she refuses to give up. Suddenly, Konstantin notices that the swamp his wife mentioned has indeed dried up. Their conversation is interrupted by a gunshot coming from the village, and they decide to return. It turns out that Egor, who stayed to wait for Anna by the car, was almost attacked by a drunken Matvey, who blames the paramedic for all the village's misfortunes. Soon, Tamara, Sofia's aunt, walks by and defends Egor from the aggressive man. She also asks Egor to check on her niece Sofia, who supposedly just caught a cold. Superstitious villagers notice the paramedic and gather at Tamara's house, eager to drive away the despised doctors. However, what Egor discovers in Tamara's house horrifies him. He soon runs out of the house and reports that Sofia has contracted a very dangerous virus. Of course, no one believes him, but he asks Anna, who has just returned, to take another look at the girl. After calming down the agitated villagers, Anna enters the house and finds that Sofia is suffering from a high fever, and her body is covered in large sores. Anna decides to stay in Kedrovka and spends the night in Sofia's room. In the morning, she resumes examining the girl and asks her about the first symptoms of the illness. Sofia explains that it all started with a headache and cough, but she thought it was just an allergy. After measuring Sofia's temperature again, Anna briefly steps out and informs Sofia's aunt, Tamara, that she needs to move out because Sofia's illness is highly contagious. Tamara, like the other villagers, refuses to listen to the doctor's advice. She believes Sofia will recover thanks to her hot soup and insists no medicine is needed. Suddenly, Anna notices that Tamara is also beginning to suffer from a fever and cough, meaning she has already been infected. Meanwhile, in Novosibirsk, Ivan is worried about Anna, who hasn't been in touch, and even files a missing persons report with the police. Later, Tatiana visits the scientists again and informs them that this time they're flying to Ufa due to a case of strange fever in a child. In Kedrovka, the connection is lost, and the ambulance breaks down completely. Anna asks Egor to go for help on foot, but he refuses to leave the vehicle, afraid of getting infected and not wanting to deal with the locals. Soon, Konstantin and Matvey discover the broken communication tower. Matvey suggests that a bear might have damaged it, but Konstantin believes it was the work of a person. Matvey blames Anna for everything and proposes pressuring her to make her confess. However, Konstantin forbids anyone from touching her and orders them to fix Egor's car so they can leave as soon as possible. Anna continues trying to contact her colleagues, then goes to Konstantin's house, where she's greeted by his daughter, Olya. Anna asks if they have any bleach, but Olya replies that they don't use anything like that. Anna explains that Sofia is seriously ill, so they need to disinfect the house. Meanwhile, Nadia also notices the dried up swamp and grows increasingly anxious about the predicted disaster. Konstantin reminds her not to worry, given her weak heart, and reassures her that everything will be fine. Soon, Konstantin returns home and sees Anna burning old belongings. He's displeased that she started taking charge of the village instead of him, but Anna reminds him that the situation is very serious. She suggests he should focus on restoring communication and fixing the cars instead of interfering with her work. Anna goes to Matvey, who makes alcoholic drinks, and asks him for a liter of alcohol. The hostile man refuses, but Anna offers to pay. Matvey then comes up with a better idea. If Anna drinks an entire glass and stays on her feet, she'll get 2 liters for free. Anna successfully completes the challenge and gets the bottle of alcohol. She then asks Egor again to go for help on foot, but he refuses once more. Throughout the day, Anna conducts disinfection, and Olya helps her put up quarantine zone posters. They hand out masks to the villagers, but Konstantin convinces Olya to remove hers so as not to scare her mother. Olya insists that the virus is really contagious, but Konstantin says that if that's the case, he won't let her go to the planned celebration that evening. Soon, Anna realizes that none of the villagers in Kedrovka are taking her advice seriously. People continue interacting with each other and deny the existence of the illness. Determined, Anna climbs onto the roof of the ambulance and gathers the villagers to try again to explain the situation. But the villagers still don't believe her and call her crazy. To everyone's surprise, Konstantin stands up for Anna. He declares that the illness is real and that he's sure everyone will recover, but for safety's sake, he insists that everyone stay isolated in their homes at least until evening. Anna thanks him for his support, and Konstantin leads her to the abandoned medical post, where something useful might be left behind. Meanwhile, in Ufa, scientists are examining a boy with similar sores on his body. After conducting tests, they conclude that the boy is infected with a virus similar to smallpox. However, his parents also don't believe the doctors and refuse to accept the medicine. They plan to take their son home, claiming he couldn't have gotten sick because they had just returned from a spiritual retreat in Brazil, which was supposed to heal them. Suddenly, Ivan remembers that there was an outbreak of monkeypox in Brazil and decides to run new tests. After that, the scientists head to the boys' school to evacuate the children and carry out a disinfection. In Kedrovka, Matvey manages to fix the ambulance, and Egor finally heads out for help. Anna returns home to Tamara and is surprised to find that she feels better, and Sofia has even gone out for a walk. At night, on his way to the city, Egor finally manages to get through to his colleagues. He informs the dispatcher about the epidemic but almost crashes into an oncoming car and ends up in the ditch. Fortunately, Egor survives, and the people from the other car, who are heading to Kedrovka for a celebration, give him a ride back to the village. Soon, Anna hears noise and sees the guests arriving. She tries to stop them, warning them about the quarantine, but no one listens to her. She has no choice but to watch the celebration from the sidelines. But suddenly, in the middle of the party, one of the villagers faints. The same kind of sores appear on his body, and people finally start to realize the danger hanging over their village. What do you think? Will it be possible to prevent epidemics in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments, give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.
Subscribe to Lauren's social media now, or I will weather modify your area so you will have flood for a week or so, or my name is not Donald Trump.